Dear seeker, pause for a moment. Take a gentle breath in and slowly let it go. In the quiet space between your thoughts, there lies a question that has followed humanity for centuries. Why do we suffer, even when we have so much? In a world that constantly asks you to chase more, achieve more, become more, you may have already sensed a subtle truth. That no matter how much you gain, something within still feels incomplete. It was this very question that led a young prince, Siddhartha Gautama, to leave behind a life of luxury, comfort, and certainty. To seek something far deeper, a truth that could not be found in wealth, power, or pleasure. After years of searching, struggling, and deep meditation, he awakened to a profound understanding of life. He became known as the Buddha, the one who is awake. What he discovered was not a belief system, not a doctrine to follow blindly, but a way of seeing reality as it truly is. He saw that suffering is not a punishment, but a condition of misunderstanding. And more importantly, he realized that freedom from suffering is possible for every human being. Dear seeker, this is not a distant philosophy reserved for monks or sages. It is a path meant for you in your daily life, in your struggles, in your quiet moments of reflection. In this video, we will gently explore 11 powerful teachings of the Buddha. Timeless insights that can help you find clarity in confusion, peace in chaos, and a deeper sense of meaning within yourself. Let us walk this path together slowly, mindfully, and with an open heart. Dear seeker, let us begin with the very first step on this journey, a truth that may feel heavy at first, yet carries the seed of deep understanding. The Buddha taught that life, as we experience it, contains suffering. Not only in obvious forms like pain, loss, or disappointment, but also in subtle, almost invisible ways that quietly shape our inner world. Have you ever achieved something you deeply desired, only to feel satisfied for a short while? And then, slowly, that feeling fades, replaced by a new desire, a new worry, or a new emptiness. This is what the Buddha called dukkha, a sense of dissatisfaction that lingers beneath the surface of life. It is present when things go wrong, but also when things seem to be going right. Because even in happiness, there is a quiet uncertainty, a fear that it may not last. Dear seeker, this teaching is not meant to make you feel discouraged or hopeless. It is not saying that life is only suffering. Rather, it invites you to look honestly at your experience, to recognize that external achievements alone cannot bring lasting peace. When you begin to see this clearly, something shifts within you. You stop chasing illusions of permanent happiness in temporary things. And in that moment of clarity, you take your first step toward true freedom. So do not turn away from this truth. Sit with it. Observe it gently. Because understanding suffering is the beginning of awakening. Dear seeker, now that we have gently recognized the presence of suffering in life, let us move a little deeper to understand its cause. The Buddha, with great compassion, revealed that suffering does not arise randomly. It has a root, a source, something within us that gives it life. He called this root craving, a constant wanting, a thirst that is never fully quenched. We crave pleasure, comfort, success, recognition. We want things to go our way, to last forever, to remain exactly as we desire. And when reality does not match our expectations, we feel frustration, disappointment, even pain. But dear seeker, it is not just the desire for pleasant things that binds us. It is also our resistance to what we dislike. We push away discomfort. We avoid uncertainty. We resist change. And in this endless cycle of wanting and resisting, the mind becomes restless, never at peace. Take a moment to observe your own life. Notice how often the mind says, "I will be happy when I achieve this, when I get that, when things finally go my way." But even when those moments arrive, the satisfaction rarely lasts. Because craving does not end with fulfillment. It simply changes its form. Dear seeker, this teaching is not asking you to suppress your desires or to reject life's joys. Instead, it invites you to become aware of your attachments, to see how tightly you hold on, and how that very holding creates tension within you. When you begin to observe craving without being controlled by it, you create space. And in that space, suffering begins to loosen its grip. Dear seeker, having understood the nature of suffering and the cause behind it, a gentle question may arise within you. Is there a way out? The Buddha answered this with profound clarity and compassion. Yes, there is freedom. Suffering is not your destiny. It is not something you are bound to carry forever. The Buddha taught that when craving begins to fade, when attachment loosens its hold, when the mind no longer clings or resists, a deep and unshakable peace arises. This state is known as nirvana. But dear seeker, nirvana is not a distant paradise or something to be attained after death. It is a transformation of your inner world, a shift in how you experience life itself. Imagine living without the constant pull of desire, without the fear of losing what you have, without being controlled by every passing thought and emotion. There is a quiet stillness in such a state, a freedom that is not dependent on circumstances. This is the peace the Buddha discovered. And he did not keep it for himself. He showed that this freedom is possible for anyone who is willing to observe, understand, and awaken. Dear seeker, even a small moment of letting go, even a brief experience of inner silence, is a glimpse of this freedom. You do not need to reach the end of the path immediately. Just begin by noticing. Where can you release your grip? Where can you allow things to be as they are? In those small moments of awareness, you begin to taste the essence of liberation. And slowly, gently, you move closer to true peace. Dear seeker, now that you have seen that freedom from suffering is possible, a natural question arises. How do I walk this path? The Buddha, with great compassion, did not leave this unanswered. He offered a clear and practical way of living known as the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is not a rigid set of rules, nor is it something to follow out of fear or obligation. It is a gentle guide, a way to bring balance, clarity, and awareness into every aspect of your life. The path begins with right understanding, seeing life as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. Then comes right intention, choosing thoughts rooted in kindness, simplicity, and compassion. As you move forward, the path shapes how you interact with the world. Right speech, speaking truthfully and with care. Right action, acting in ways that do not harm yourself or others. Right livelihood, choosing work that aligns with integrity and purpose. And then, dear seeker, the path turns inward. Right effort, gently guiding your mind away from negativity. Right mindfulness, becoming aware of each moment, just as it is. Right concentration, cultivating a focused and steady mind. These are not separate steps to complete one after another, but qualities to nurture together, like threads woven into a single fabric. Dear seeker, you do not need to perfect this path overnight. Even the smallest effort, a mindful breath, a kind word, a conscious choice, is a step forward. Walk slowly. Walk sincerely. For every step taken with awareness brings you closer to a life of clarity, balance, and inner peace. Dear seeker, as you walk this path, you may notice a tendency within the mind to move toward extremes. At times, we chase pleasure, comfort, indulgence, believing that more enjoyment will bring lasting happiness. And at other times, we may swing in the opposite direction, becoming overly strict, denying ourselves, pushing the body and mind too hard, thinking that discipline alone will lead us to truth. The Buddha himself experienced both of these extremes. He lived a life of great luxury as a prince, and later, a life of severe austerity as a seeker. Yet, neither brought him the peace he was searching for. And from this deep realization, he discovered something profound. Right pointing back hand index, truth is not found in extremes, but in balance. This is known as the middle way. Dear seeker, the middle way is a life of awareness and harmony. It does not ask you to reject the world, nor does it ask you to lose yourself in it. It invites you to live with wisdom, to enjoy without attachment, to discipline yourself without harshness, to engage with life without becoming trapped by it. Notice your own life gently. Are there places where you are holding too tightly, or perhaps pushing yourself too far? The middle way is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Eating when the body needs nourishment, resting when it needs rest, working with sincerity but not exhaustion. Dear seeker, balance is not something you force. It is something you become aware of, moment by moment. And as you begin to walk this middle path, you will find that peace is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you naturally live. Dear seeker, now we arrive at one of the most profound and transformative insights the Buddha shared. A truth that, when deeply understood, can gently dissolve much of our fear and attachment. The Buddha taught that everything in existence is impermanent. This is known as Anicca, the truth of constant change. Look closely at your own experience. Your thoughts arise and pass away. Your emotions come and go like waves. Your body changes with time. Even the moments you cherish the most never stay the same. Yet, dear seeker, the mind often longs for permanence. It wants to hold on, to preserve, to make things last forever. And when life inevitably changes, we feel loss, resistance, and sorrow. But here is the deeper realization. What if change is not the problem? What if resisting change is what creates suffering? Alongside impermanence, the Buddha revealed another subtle truth, Anatta, or non-self. He taught that what we call I is not a fixed, unchanging entity, but a flow of experiences, thoughts, sensations, perceptions, constantly shifting, moment by moment. Dear seeker, when you begin to see that there is nothing permanent to cling to, something within you softens. The fear of losing begins to fade, because you understand that change is the very nature of life. like a river that never stops flowing. You two are not the same from one moment to the next. And in accepting this flow, you stop fighting reality. You begin to live with openness, with lightness, with freedom. So gently remind yourself, this moment will pass. This feeling will change. This too is not fixed. And in that awareness, you discover a quiet, liberating peace. Dear seeker, as we come to the end of this journey, take a quiet moment and simply notice how you feel. Not by analyzing, not by judging, but by gently observing. The teachings of the Buddha are not meant to remain as ideas in the mind. They are invitations to look, to understand, to awaken. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. You do not need to have all the answers. The path begins with something very simple. A single moment of awareness. Perhaps today, you pause before reacting. Perhaps you observe a thought instead of following it. Perhaps you choose kindness where you once chose anger. These small shifts, dear seeker, are not small at all. They are the beginning of transformation. Remember, suffering can be understood. Attachment can be released. Peace can be realized. And everything you seek is already within you, waiting to be seen clearly. So walk gently on this path. Be patient with yourself. There will be days of clarity and days of confusion. Both are part of the journey. If this message has touched something within you, do not rush away. Sit with it. Reflect on it. Let it settle into your awareness. And if you wish to continue exploring this path together, you are always welcome here. Until we meet again, may your mind be calm. May your heart be open. May you walk the path of awareness and slowly, beautifully, awaken.